Hello to anyone out there joining early. So I've seen the message that there might be a little bonus feature. If not, I'll just be talking to myself till someone joins the chat. Either way, I'm perfectly happy. We have the Oceania Champions Cup Group B fixture to play between Kiwi, who drew with Labasa of Fiji in their opening game, taking on the mighty Dudley Hill Reserves, who won 3-0 in their first game. Steve has done his reserve swaps, completely depleting me of any options, but I've still managed to put a team out. Langfield, Litos, Johansson all remain, Rickson and Koku the same, Galazek. Baronio comes in as Cahill moves further forward. Oliveira, who's been dropped from the first team, comes in. Ataka goes up front, as I didn't want to risk Luca Toni, who's also been dropped, as he may be headed for pastures new, and Petkovic also starts. Again, just 3 substitutes allowed in this competition, including Nick Mladenovic, the 17-year-old attacking midfielder, due to Steve's lack of any attacking options in the reserves. Again, I didn't want to risk Luca Toni getting injured ahead of his big loan move. So let's get on with the action. We have got a co-commentator joining ahead of the real action. But I thought it'd be nice to play this one live just so we can see what's going on. It doesn't really matter, but I'd like to win. A throwback to my old Devil's tactic as well, of course. I'd like to think that Dudley Reserves were more than good enough to beat some fruit. Evening, Greasy. Welcome to the action. The Oceania Champions Cup Group B fixture. As again, as I said in the intro, if you missed it, Dudley Hills Reserves against some fruit. Evening, Mr. Edwards. Hope you are well as well, sir. And annoyed that they haven't scored. There we go. Well done, Timmy Cahill. Briefly rumoured to be Swindon's new manager, but clearly didn't happen. Too busy scoring goals in the Oceania Champions Cup for Dudley. Up the Fivey Hill indeed, Steve Wright. I don't care what anyone says that I'm supposed to be losing this. Baronio on his debut, making it 2. Running riot now. Well, good. I am good, thank you, mate. I am good. Running riot. Fivey's at the wheel. Steve, your Dudley Hill have become very boring. Look what the reserves can do when you give them a chance. There's half time. Look at that. That is what happens when you play this beautiful, beautiful formation with the controversial diagonal arrow. Barry who? Who needs Barry when you've got Baronio, Rickson and Koku as well, tearing things up. Gunning for silver. I've got the taste for it, Ian, and it's been so long since I had any. I just want to taste it again. I'm going to win the whole thing. Steve's reserves are knackered, but with the lack of subs allowed, I'm just going to play to 60. Again, we have got a co-commentator. Mr. Duggan is coming to join me ahead of the proper games, but I thought I could have played this one, but I thought it'd be nice for you guys just to see it play out. Steve, do you want to see Nick Mladenovic make his debut? I'm happy to do so. Let's do that, and bring him on in a attacking position. And Johnny Heitinger doesn't need to come on at this stage. Big John Ataka playing up front, yet to score, of course. Let's carry on. 20 minutes left to play. Do it yet. Steve's on. Don't you worry, pal. And is it going to be successive 3-0 wins for the Hill? And look at that. No Luca Toni, no problem. Tim Cahill, man of the match, 10 out of 10 rating. 10 out of 10 for Rickson as well. We've got 9 there. What a player. How did Nick do? He got a 6 for his 20 minutes. Baronio as well on his debut. How long's he been at Dudley Hill? Coming in the auction all those years ago, finally makes his debut, and he's scoring on the continent, Steve. Match stats, always a quiet second half by comparison. We allowed them 2 shots. We firmly taken our foot off the gas, but there we go. Let's I'll keep the mics up. I'll mute them briefly when Duggan comes on, just so we can get sorted. But congratulations, Dudley Hill, who have got romped to 6 points, a +6 goal difference, absolutely tearing it up in the Oceania Cup. let's have a look at the league table before we start the proper action. Haggis leading the way. Last time out, just a reminder, on Sunday we had Astor 1, Devils 1. We had the 7-goal thriller that Halls won at Bostock Stanley. What else did we have? Dragons tearing Northern Burn apart 4-1. Red cards for both sides, but one was significantly earlier than the other. What else do we have? Churchtown beating Fulchester 3-0. Molina getting sent off, of course, in this one, but Churchtown running riot. Gazelles beating Leddersford 2-0. Big one, and another red card, of course, in that game. Quite a few red cards handed out recently, I've noticed. Haggis returning to the top of the table, beating the champions Dudley Hill, who have just been shown how it's really done on the continent. And we had Sloths against Loco, and the away side winning 2-0 to carry on their excellent form. Tonight, because we've just had Dudley play, so the Dudley Gazelles fixture is not happening tonight, but we do have 6 other excellent games. Evening, Mr. Piers. How are you, sir? So we've got Churchtown Haggis. That looks like it could be a good game. Fulchester Halls, again, interesting fixture. Leddersford Dragons, which Ghost Games permitting will be last due to the co-commentator. We've got Loco Astor, Northern Burn Sloths, the bottom 2 going head-to-head. Who would have thought that these two, Northern Burn and a Hodgie Run club, bottom 2. And then we've got Devils against Bostock Stanley, which could be absolutely crucial. It's Bostock in 10th, but only 2 points behind Devils. It's still very tight. 3 points separating Dragons in 11th from Churchtown in 5th. Excellent second half of the season we have in prospect. I do hope you're all well and looking forward to the action. If you missed it, we've just played the Oceania Cup fixture. Dudley Hill romping to victory with the reserves and no recognised striker, playing the old Devils formation. Just waiting for our co-commentator to join us, and we will get going. By tonight's co-commentator, Dragon Supremo, Mr. Duggan. How are you, pal?
How we doing, mate? Great to be back. Massive shout out to all those on the picket lines, up the workers. Big red salute. How's things going?
Yeah, I am very, very well. Thank you very much for asking. We're just having a little chat off there, and you seem particularly chirpy tonight, so I'm looking forward to what your commentary brings. And of course, you've got a little bit more time to fit your excellent level of banter and content in, as we only have the 6 fixtures to contend with tonight, not 7, given Dudley Hill are currently running riot on the continent, meaning Gazelles aren't featuring at all. It also means that I don't get to talk to you about your time at Gazelles again, which I like to do every time you're on. So I'm sure you're gutted to be missing that. Evening, Swanee, who I can see's joined the chat. Hope you're well, pal. So yeah, let's have a look at the league table. We're still more or less at the halfway stage. Haggis back at the top.
Yeah, and looking really good. I think at the minute them and unfortunately Logo are probably the two kind of teams in the league that look the most impressive. Was kind of speaking to Macca the other day, and he's having a little bit of a wobble. But I think we all forget that Macca went on a 5-game winning run. He's won 5 games, and I think everybody else in the league has only won 2, with a couple winning 3 back to back. So Fulchester are still there.
Oh, very much so. And despite, the defeat last time out, they're still the joint best defensive record in the league. Speaking of teams having a wobble, Dudley Hill, what have you made of them recently?
I think I don't know. I've not really made my mind up yet. I think they're solid without being spectacular, and I think sometimes within that top 6, there's always kind of 2 teams or so that aren't massively impressive, but just don't lose many games. I think the worry for Stee is that some of those games where he was nicking a point or nicking a win, he's now starting to kind of be on the back end of that, with the Haggis result probably being the most recent one.
And obviously, Stee as well as anybody. When you see decisions like allowing Luca Toni to go out on loan, are you worried where his head's at the moment?
I don't know how much of that is partly kind of wanting to do right by kind of his mate Dimble. Obviously, we all totally have a load of time for. And also part of it is he's got the start. He knows the save's being rebooted, and I don't know. The cynic in us says it might just be an easy excuse when it all falls apart. I don't think the system at Dudley's been particularly great. I think I was saying to Steve the other day, I think it's a bit harsh. Luke has only got like kind of 2 and 13 or something. Mm-hmm. But actually, when you look, Dudley have only scored 13 all season. So it's not just kind of on Luca Toni's shoulders, really. I know Roy Mackay was a big player for him last season and just hasn't really repeated the same form this season. But yeah, I think they'll definitely be there or thereabouts. There's definitely 6 or 7 worse teams than Dudley this season. But not sure if he's going to get it over the line.
Around game week 7 or 8, I suggested that although the league looked more competitive, there was a bit of a split forming earlier than normal. We're now at game 15 and it's closed right up again. I was saying a little while ago, I had the mics up briefly, there's 3 points separating yourselves in 11th from Churchtown in 5th. Astor only 1 point further back on 18. Dudley are only 1 point further forward on 23. Realistically, I mean, I don't want to rule Sloths out either, because we know what Hodgie's capable of. Whether the class is in the squad to do what he's done previously is another question. Realistically, we're still saying any one of 12, if not 13 clubs can finish in that top 6, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at this the other night. Dimble made a really good point, which was that everybody's 2 wins away from looking like they're going to win it and 2 defeats away from looking like they're going to crash and burn. And then when I was kind of looking at the table before coming on, obviously with the exception of kind of the top 2, nobody kind of below that kind of threshold is 2 wins away from jumping at least 4 or 5 places. Nice. So, even if you think if Sloths did 2 back-to-back wins, they'd be probably in and around the playoffs. Maybe 2 or 3 points off. Yep. So nobody's 2 points off, 2 wins off, massively changing the kind of narrative around them. You think about how we all feel Logo seasons went, compared to how, let's say Bostock with all the injuries that they've had. But Scotty gets 2 wins and he's potentially up to 3rd. So I think the reason we all play this is because of the narrative and the storylines and the banter and all that sort of stuff. So really interesting.
Purely coincidental, of course, but you used the term crash and burn, and that brings us neatly on to how is this Northern Burn team still in this 14th position with this gap to the nearest rival?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously there in the second season with Gazelles, and it becomes nigh on impossible to get out of that rut. It really does. It boxes your head off, and Ian's got his star and he's won it. So I think that definitely takes a lot of pressure off him. But actually, I think I don't think there's much more he can be doing. He's not making anything. I mean, the formation the last couple of weeks was a little bit bizarre, but why the fuck not? Because he's kind of tried and formation hasn't been working for him. It's really hard when you're losing back-to-back games for you to undo the impact that has on morale and ratings and all that sort of stuff. Somebody's got to be bottom and somebody's got to be top, and unfortunately, he's been at the top end and he's down at the bottom end this season.
Well, it's the battle of the bottom two that we start with tonight. Northern Burn at home to Sloths. As you can see here, Burn missing Keane, they're missing Okoronkwo, they're missing Cannavaro. They've got a couple of others in the reserves that they're missing as well. It's got to the point that the man who's been incredibly vocal about only having permanent players because they care more has had to loan in Abel Xavier just to have a recognised player really in that position. Clearly not happy with Morgan or Medina playing there. You'll also spot no Totti in the squad, no Brozek in the... Oh, hang on, I need to check the subs bench, I've realised. But here's the starting lineup for Burn, and it's a change of shape again.
Yeah, that looks much more solid straight away. I think everybody will agree that looks much more solid. We all love transfers, and I've made my fair share of shit transfers. And I think that there's probably... Ian never strikes us as someone that wants to deal. He never wants to kind of go out and make all these transfers and kind of, get them done as early as others. But I think even he's probably looking at some of the deals he's done and kind of regretting some of them. But it's still everyone says every week it's like Northern Burn bingo. It's still a great 11. Maybe not tonight, but beyond the kind of reserves having to come in, it's still a good 11.
No, absolutely. You did put Novotny as captain as well. Yes, I know. There we go. So that's the Northern Burn side. Let's have a look then at what Sloths have done. Xavier can't be 13. I remember that. Sloths themselves, they've made their 2 transfers since last game week. Both cash deals. They brought in Nicolidis from Ledisford and Harbuzi from Loco. Both come straight into the team. Harbuzi starts with Nicolidis on the bench. What do you make of those 2 additions? Do they improve Sloths, or do you think if Hodgie had branched out a bit, he could have got better?
I don't think he would have got better, just purely because of the way people have been rolling the dice on the last season of this kind of current version. Mm-hmm. I think it definitely gives them options, and you know what it's like when players are in a team that aren't the ones that you brought in or aren't the ones that you back. Then just having them as players that you brought in makes a massive difference straight away, doesn't it? And I think he was saying a couple of weeks back he was going to do a little bit more home testing just to try and get something out of this Sloths team, and they've kind of pulled themselves away from Burn at the bottom, and kind of stereotype that this is a 6-pointer really.
I'm looking forward to having Hodgie on comms on Sunday as well. He's already put his name forward for that. Always good value when he is on. So can I ask you please for your score prediction for Northern Burn, 14th place Northern Burn against 13th placed Spartak Sloths, a game where if Burn lose, you pretty much think they're rooted to the bottom for the rest of the season. Yeah,
I think those big players will be just a little bit too much for Burn to fill in with, and I think Sloths will probably edge at 2-1.
Sloths 2-1. Tato's going 2-1 to Burn. Ian saying I offered him Smith, Saha, or Vasilyuk as well, so options were there potentially. I think I saw Martin say he would have taken Tomadira as well. Evening, Dan. Welcome. Alf going 2-0 to Burn. Let's kick off the first proper game of the evening, and it is Sloss that started quickest. They want a penalty, not given. Burn come forward up the other end. It goes over the bar. The half is flying by, already at 26 minutes. It looks like when it's the Burn Tex, it's defensive-minded players generally. Kivu goes into the book. Danielson, Pizarro, Xavier to Oliseh. 2 minutes to be added on, which we're into. And Kluivert, just on the stroke of half-time, scores a penalty to give Northern Burn a lifeline and a 1-0 lead at half-time. Let's go straight to the match report, Doug. And it's not the biggest first half report we've seen in the Super League, but let's just see. So Xavier fed the ball through to Robin. Pereira barged into him in the back. The referee gave a penalty, and Kluivert, a man you know very well, scoring it to give Burn the lead. The stats there, particularly the attempts on goal, suggest what we thought by the lack of text during that half and how quickly it went by, but a crucial lead for Northern Burn.
Yeah, I'm with those kind of defensive players that he's got missing. It'll be interesting to see if he hangs on. I thought Sloss definitely edged that, and Vesterveld again was amongst all the text, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Like I was saying at the time, it looked like it was more your sort of Oliseh's when it was Burn Tex than Kluivert and Owen. Let's have a look at the home side first. Ashley Cole and Patrick Kluivert both rating 8s. Potentially, where do you stand on condition at half time? I'm looking at Kluivert on 81, thinking maybe get to an hour and then that's going to be about it for him. Aymar struggling a little bit in the centre of midfield. He's seen a fair bit of the ball, but just not doing that much with it.
Yeah, and Hodgie's got that kind of block of 4, hasn't he? The two CMs and the 2 DMs, so he's probably just getting a little bit outnumbered in there. But probably for the first time in a long time, Kluivert looks to be kind of right amongst it in terms of putting himself about passes and headers and things. And everybody knows I got a load of stick when I let Kluivert go for Elias, but Kluivert has not pulled up any trees since, really, in 3 seasons on from that deal. Definitely hasn't for Burn, really. Yeah.
Ian going as is. As for Hodgie's side, let's have a quick look at them. A bit more of a 6 fest throughout. A couple of players, looking at Desai is one player who is sort of standing up to Northern Burn. Kivu yellow card. I know you're one who does pay a lot of attention to his yellow cards, so that might be something you'd consider. But the thing that jumps out at me, particularly in the crucial areas, and the central players, is how few passes they're attempting, particularly, Habuzi on his debut, not seeing a lot of the ball at all.
Yeah, it reeks of either kind of Northern Burn trying to press or Sloths being either direct or long, really, especially kind of into those central areas. Hodgie probably isn't going to have as bad a half as that if he rolls again. So I'd be tempted to stay as is for him as well, I think.
I haven't seen him in the chat yet, but he does quite often watch in the background, so I will give him sort of 30 seconds or more just to announce himself if he is here. If it is unchanged, do you expect Burn to double their lead, or from what you saw in that first half, think Sloths have got enough about them to get something still?
You'd hope that the likes of Pizarro is probably going to come through and have at least one decent chance where he gets it on target and challenges Vesterveld. But certainly Vesterveld, he's, other than kind of last game against us, where the 10 men kind of impacted things, I think he's been a little bit of a diamond in the rough for Ian, to be honest.
No word yet from Hodgie, so we'll play to 60 and see if he wants to change it then, if he is about. Burn do come for bloody hell. All the time flew by with nothing happening at all. This reeks of a bottom of the league encounter, but Burn coming forward looking for a second. A lot of Burn text, but no actual attempt on goal. Evening, Hodgie. You've come at just the right time. 70 minutes on the clock. You're losing 1-0, and absolutely fuck all is happening in this game. But Northern Burn, as the home side, get first option to make any changes. Do you think Ian will at this stage, or given that time's ticking by with not much happening, he'll be quite happy?
I don't know what his kind of thoughts are on condition, but that's probably the most solid and consistent rather ratings I've seen across the board for Burn in a while.
Ian
Nobody's
is
dropped a 6 or a
going.
5.
He is going as is. I would have been tempted to bring off the players in the 70s there myself, personally, but he's going as is. Hodgie, any changes you'd like to make to this? I'll leave it on the ratings for a moment before swapping over to condition.
I would probably be dropping one of the DMs. Maybe Desai struggling fitness wise. Get 2 up top. Maybe Riziki for Hogwartsy, maybe.
Well, the interesting thing I noticed about Riziki is he went into the game only on 90%. He is carrying a slight injury. Hodgie's saying, "Nah, get it over with." So as it's on 17, only 1 goal in it, we'll slow the commentary down for the last 20 minutes, much to the bemusement of everyone watching, because another 8 minutes goes by with nothing happening. You might as well just finish that drink, Duggan, and go and get another one by the time this one's done. It's certainly not one for the football purists. Christian Kivu's picked up a knock, which is not good news at all. Again, would you maybe drop Desai in there and move someone further forward? 10 minutes to go, throw everything at it?
One at the back, 2 up top.
One at the back, 2 up top. Just wait for Hodgie to decide what he wants to do with it. If he does make a tactical change, of course, Ian, we will allow you to do the same before we continue. This is probably the best game to start with because so little is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, but when I was looking at the kind of the group of games, that they all seem to be teams that can kind of get close to or take over the team that they're actually playing tonight. So I think there's we said, yeah, do that, but I'm not sure what is it that the one at the back, 2 up top.
Yeah, we both kind of made a suggestion, and he's not said which one he wants to go with. Nicolidis, so I'm guessing he's going like this. Just wait for confirmation. I know you're a fan of people going one at the back. It adds that bit of drama. But losing with 10 minutes to go to bottom of the league, it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you lose 2-0 or 3-0, does it? Do you know if it gets you back into it ones each? Difey, were you part of the group thread when we thought Hodgie had been kidnapped?
Yes.
It's honestly one of my Super League highlights, that.
Ian's already said as is. If you remember, I was the one that was I was actually WhatsApping him and saying
yeah,
because we thought it was someone else had nicked his phone, and I was like, no, we need you to send this, and like it's got to have today's newspaper and stuff.
Yeah, he sent a picture from like the freezer of his workplace or something. Yeah, so good, honestly.
And Pizarro puts one just wide for the away side. 2 minutes to be added on. I could just see Ian there, really solidly stood behind his chair, not wanting to watch these last few minutes. Aymar picks it up. Could you imagine if it's Aymar that scores the goal against Hodgie? Lamey's being called over, goes into the book. Great time for the Super League chat when Hodgie was kidnapped, says Swan. Harbuzi coming forward. On his debut, Westerveld with a save, and they get a corner. Xavier manages to head it clear, and a huge 3 points for Northern Byrne as they beat their closest rivals 1-0 at home. Sloss created plenty but failed to score. Byrne, you said you weren't sure how they'd hold on, missing all those defensive players, but they've done it well. And it has to be said, Captain Jens Novotny, who was the reserve swap for game week 15, he had been playing in the reserves, playing quite well, as you can see there. He's come back in with his first appearance of the season, got the armband and put in a man of the match shift.
Yeah, and Ian's never really been one to kind of focus on squad depth, but it's actually certainly from the text and those match ratings, it looks as though all of the kind of people that nobody else would touch with a barge pole has actually done it for him. You know, Westerveld, Novotny, Xavier was involved in everything. It's not been the Hollywood players, it's been the kind of the reserves that have stepped up and done him a favour.
And I think that depicts a lot of what the Super League's about, because obviously it is generally your elite players that were the first ones involved. But the amount of players that have come from this, and suddenly, however the Super League looks for next season, I think the transfer policy is going to be thrown completely out the window, because all of these big name players, Zidane, Vieri, they're not going to be your elite players anymore. People are going to be looking at Jens Novotny and thinking he's won the Super League 3 times, I think, with different clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the amount, even like you'd probably look at the Super League managers and say, we're the niche of the internet that have played this game more than anybody else. But actually, even in like kind of 2 years, 4 seasons, there are players that we've discovered, players that now we wouldn't touch with a barge pole, players that now we'd be clamouring to get, that wouldn't have happened if lockdown plus 4 seasons in 2 years, kind of all of that stuff had happened. Swemp, the game's gone, all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think there's definitely a lot to be said around the likes of Abel Xavier and Novotny coming in and doing a job.
Absolutely. Dan saying tight game, Dimble saying Abel is solid, and Ian saying typical first win in ages, and we were second best. Let's have a quick look at the Sloths. The ratings certainly went up from where they were at half time. Harbuzi still struggled a little bit, but he was certainly involved. It's fair to say he was involved. Pizarro's still carrying the brunt of the work in terms of attacking threat. It wasn't awful from a Sloths perspective, was it? It'll just be a frustration that they've lost to bottom of the league, really.
Yeah, look, I think if you take the Clive penalty away, it's essentially 2 teams that were playing 2-4 and then a couple of heads that really struggled to create anything between them. And the penalty was the difference. So, result aside, I don't think either of them can be 2. Obviously, Ian's going to be absolutely buzzing, but it's one of them where the penalty was the difference.
Do you think this could be a catalyst for Burn?
They're probably still cut too far adrift, but what I would say is that you'd have Burn's squad or Sloth's squad, and Ian has probably proven what Hodgie doesn't have, which is just that little bit higher quality in the right places with a bit better depth.
Well, what do you make of this? Ian's saying Hodgie, bin your loan, which, if I remember rightly, is Tolly. Tolly. Bin your loan, and I'll lend you Smith. Would Alan Smith significantly improve this Sloths team?
I think probably what Hodgie would be looking for is either a DM or a creative CM. That's what I probably think. He's got Simeone in there. He's got Desai in there. Who aren't really going to pull up any trees, even though they're solid.
Creasy, actually, just as you mentioned that, but does Simeone have a mobility scooter in centre midfield?
Yeah, so I think if anybody's got a decent DM or a decent MC kind of knocking around, I think that's probably where the Sloths could benefit from most.
To be fair, Hodgie's not going to take Alan Smith, is he? If we think about it logically, I know Tim Cahill's currently tearing it up on the continent for Dudley Hill's reserves. If Hodgie's remotely interested in Tim Cahill, he's just scored a brace against Kiwi. Let's move on to a fascinating looking fixture, isn't it? Top of the league, Haggis Hunters away to Churchtown, who have been on something of a rampage recently, and last time out, which we'll see in a minute, was a phenomenal performance and result for them. Haggis go back to the tried and tested with both new players dropping out of the lineup onto the bench, and Casas and Joe Cole coming back into the 11. They are without Walter Samuel, who's suspended, so Cordoba comes into partner Stam at the back.
Really solid, and I think managers that have done well would be honest enough, I think, sometimes to say that it's almost accidental sometimes what you stumble across.
He tried this. What I mean? So this formation came about in that random game set of friendlies that I put together, and he just wanted to try it.
Yeah, and he stuck with it, and I'm saying this as someone that has copied the shape of this for Dragons. And I don't think there's anything wrong with accidentally stumbling over something that works. I'm a big believer that the kind of system suited to the players is more important than the players within the system. I think Churchtown are a really good example of that. I think probably in the past, Ian has maybe kind of tried to get the best players in the 11 at the expense of a system that works. This season, this system and the players within it looks absolutely solid. Joe Cole is absolutely pulling up strings as an MC. So yeah, fair play to him. I think what a thing it would be for Haggis to win the Super League in the last iteration of this save. I mean, we'd never see Campbell ever again. But what a party it would be.
Do you know what? You've literally jumped on the question I was about to ask, whereas if you take yourself out of Dragons mode and look at the wider CM, the CMSL picture, having Haggis back in not just the playoff picture, but the title picture and the party in Edinburgh, should he go on to do it, would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the local A&E would struggle to cope with the demand, but I mean, if for me, it's like, who would I like to see win it this season?
If not yourself, of course.
Yeah, I think that's a long way off, mate, to be honest.
That's 3 points away.
Campbell, Macca, in terms of like who I think would be just fucking class to win it, and then in terms of who I think I'd like to see win it because I think they're great at the game and deserve it, is probably Dimble.
Okay. So Donati doesn't get to make a farewell as he's on his way home to Locomotive Boston so that Luca Toni can make his way in. A couple of reserve swaps have been included. Babel has been promoted, as has Elber. I can't remember off the top of my head who's gone down. Cambiasso is one, and I think Kaká was the other. But that doesn't really alter things too much in terms of how the fuck have I just not done anyone subs tonight? Fucking hell. But it's pretty much the tried and tested Churchtown formation. And I just every time I just can't get over how good these three have been together.
Yeah, unreal. And these are all players that, maybe with the exception of Hussein, definitely Brugge and Agahawa, they're definitely players that have had enough chances with enough managers to show if they can or can't do it. I mean, how many times has Agahawa been in and around the Super League and done absolutely nothing? So yeah, I'm a big fan of this Churchtown lineup. I think there's nobody that's really Hollywood in here, but just a quality team.
Absolutely. They do have, obviously, Tomasi continues to dominate, but again, I mention it quite often. I think this is as good a wing pairing as anyone.
Yeah, Volodenkov on the left is miles better than he is on the right. So having someone that you can bank on playing the right and the left, kind of in Zambrotta and Volodenkov, just gives him that fluidity that if he's missing one, the other can cover and somebody else can come in. And I think when Dimble was kind of dealt his hand with the squad he inherited, he was relying on trying to get players that were versatile and could play 2 or 3 positions.
Yep. No, definitely. I'm just fill these in. Hersey and Salas. There we go. Subs bench done. And I mentioned in the intro, obviously Molina's red card had a big factor, but that was one hell of a performance from Churchtown, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8 goals in 2 games as well, by the way. So they've definitely hit the back of the net, and Hussein's top scorer by 2, I think. So yeah, he's doing something right. Versatility makes me wet, says Dimble.
Okay, let's head to kick off. I'm very much looking forward to this game. This could be anything. This could be another 5-4 like yours, or it could be a 1-0 in the 95th minute with these two. But I am expecting goals, to be fair. Hate going on early, says Ian. Yeah, cheers, Dimble. I turned the screen off to get the emails up to see the subs bench. I forgot you were in the chat. You could have just told me who they were, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Score prediction, please, Duggan.
I'd love a high score and draw.
Yeah, so Alf's going 2-2. Is 2-2. That not high enough?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
You're going 2-2 as well. Let's see if you and Alf are correct. Haggis going straight in on the attack with attempts in the first and second minute of the game, but failing to score. Churchtown now coming back at them and take the lead, and it's Arnold Brooking again on 9 minutes. Unbelievable how many goals this boy scored. But Mendieta makes it 1-1 on 17, and we could be set for the goals that we wanted. Although a large chunk of time did fly by there with nothing happening. Casas with the opportunity, and another one. And then Viduka getting involved, 4 minutes being added on at the end of the half. Viduka with another opportunity. Haggis finishing the stronger, but there goes the half-time whistle. I believe Ericsson is back at his spiritual home of Leeds reserves. That is correct. After all the moaning and complaining, I just sorted it out pre-season and got that one done. Half-time, Churchtown scoring with their only attempt on goal. Haggis have been hammering at the home end.
Yeah, I don't think the kind of text didn't feel like that. It felt very back and forwards. But again, this is Churchtown for you. They'll hang on in games where they need to hang on. Very rarely get embarrassed or kind of humiliated, and they'll be competitive and try and nick something. It'll be interesting to see where those chances have fell for Haggis. So it didn't feel like the kind of front two were getting many of them.
Well, I think Casas had a couple.
Right.
Viduka seems to be struggling, doing more sort of winning stuff in the air. Having a look at the home side stats, Tomasi there, look at that, dominating. 7 tackles, 6-1, 3 of them key, winning everything in the air as well. Low number of passes, but that's consistent throughout the team. He's actually the second highest amount attempted and the most amount completed. So you can see why he's rating so high. And you mentioned Volodenkov as well, absolutely doing bits out wide for the team. Looking at the subs bench and what's available, would you be altering things given how little they've created?
No, I don't think so. I think you take the ones each at half time and you expect the team to kind of create more.
So just to put in perspective, so if we add that on, that's what, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21 goal involvements in 31 starts, 32 games in total by Bruggen, a player who I tried. I mean, to be fair, in this save, he did all right that 1 year he was at Devils. But previously, I tried to show that I really liked him, and it didn't quite happen. But he's doing wonders at Churchtown.
And I think he's probably the only FC in the league that is getting near a starting position. I think you speak to the most Super League managers, and I certainly hate FCs or FLRCs or however you want to call them. But I think Brugink he's been a key man.
He's the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
No sub for Dimble, but he's moved Kaluzhny further forward. Who I believe, am I right in thinking this is against his former club as well? Was he part of that transfer?
Yeah, he was. I think Logo and then Haggis.
So Kaluzhny further forward to Marzi central. So kind of matching up, except obviously Haggis played 2 with 1. So kind of matching up for Churchtown. Do you think that'll help balance the scales for them, matching up in midfield?
Yeah, so just trying to kind of hope to get more of the ball. Just click on Churchtown there. Just do some quick maths for how many back on the individual stats. Sorry, mate. Just to see if it works. So what's that? 13, 19, 29, 43, 59, 69, 80, 87, 96. So there's 116 passes being attempted. So I'm guessing Dimble's logic is play the 4 across the middle, get more of the ball, and try to improve that second half.
That's incredible. I mean, I'd like to think I'm quite quick at counting, but that was incredible counting there.
Probably not 100% accurate. I'm saying 116. It could be 20 either way, but we'll see.
Let's have a look at Haggis and how their team are performing. Del Piero, the star man from their perspective, involved in everything good for them. You wanted to see where the chances are kind of fallen all over the place. Case has had the most with 2. I saw both of their chances, but 1 apiece throughout just about every attacking player.
And even though they haven't took the chances, that's what you want. You want a tactic where everybody's able to chip in. I certainly think of a couple of teams off the top of my head this season that probably want to spread the goals out a little bit further. Dragons being one of them. So yeah, I think Ian probably just pushes on here and just sees if they can put the ball in the back of the net.
Well, Santa Cruz is coming on against his former club at half-time for the only man who had more than 1 shot on goal, Greasy Rain Man on comms.
I don't think that 116 was accurate, by the way. So I'm not gonna kind of big that up. I think Dimble fucking hates Santa Cruz as well. I think he was so. Dimble will probably be able to let one know in the chat. I think he was so annoyed with him when he was at Churchtown and how shit he was. I'm not sure if Dimble fucking hates him. So hopefully he doesn't score.
Oh, so someone missed the target there. But Churchtown's Agahawa, it's been disallowed. Agahawa was offside. Approaching the hour mark, Del Piero hits a curling shot that goes just wide. Yellow card for Del Piero. Casillas with a fingertip save, and we reach the tactical break. Jens is saying it was 112.
That's not bad. 4 out. I'll take that. Take 4 out.
You have had a can or 2 as well.
Yeah, always.
Don't mind him, just never fancied him, says Dimple. So score still 1-1 with 25 plus injury time to play. Hersey or Salas to try and force the equation, or Mendes de Silva to sort of strengthen it up, or do you see Dimble kind of carrying on as is?
I mean, Agahawa's had 1 disallowed, and the front 3 have been class for him all season, so I definitely wouldn't be switching any of them. I suppose it's about whether Dimble wants to kind of sit tight and play for the draw, whether he wants to go for the killer and get the 3 points. You'd maybe Hersey for one of the wingers if you fancied it, or switch Agahawa around with one of the wingers and put Hersey in the AMC. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he'll do here. I think he might just stay as is.
Hersey for Petrov is the substitution.
Yeah.
I will move over to Haggis. Dimble, just let me know if that is all. Diagonal arrow on him, like that, I presume.
Yeah, play Dimble.
So it's certainly an attacking move by Churchtown to try and change this again. As for Haggis, again, ratings are solid. Santa Cruz not really got involved as of yet. No real fitness concerns either. And it's all defensive-minded players on the bench for them as well, so they can't really alter it from an attack perspective unless they do something tactically.
Yeah, I mean, if Zidane was on the bench, you'd probably give him a role at this point, but that bench looks a little bit poor, doesn't it, in terms of options to go and win it. Maybe sticking a roll on Joe Cole and go 3 up top. I don't know. It depends what he wants, doesn't it?
He's saying roll with it, so that's what we'll do. You say that defence looks a bit poor. Have you seen the Ledisford bench against you tonight?
Oh yeah, is it like 3 strikers or something?
I think 3 strikers and a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I didn't see who it was, but I seen Greaves' comment.
Joe Cole coming forward, well saved. It goes out for a corner. Del Piero, but Khan grabs it, and Churchtown withhold the pressure. 6 goals from the last 5 games between these 2 clubs, says Swan. 6 goals from the last 5 games.
Head-to-heads, I think.
Jeremy's Cole, free kick given. Mendieta lines it up, deflects off the wall, and Hersey gets it clear.
This is the sort of game that probably decides whether Haggis finished top or not. You know, they've had all the chances, need to take them.
It's a yellow card handed out and a free kick to the home side. Bruggen takes it, but Del Piero clears and Haggis retain possession. Here comes Del Piero again. He's been kind of an unsung hero for Haggis, isn't he? Everything good this year has kind of gone through him.
Reminds us a lot of Totti when he was at Burn. Well, Totti at Burn when they had that title-winning season.
Yeah, definitely. Santa Cruz coming forward, headed by Duff, and it's Santa Cruz, but he puts it just wide in injury time, and it ends 1 apiece. A result that will certainly widen the eyes of the entire playoff chasing pack. But look at the amount of chances wasted by the away side.
Yeah, I'm not sure Santa Cruz is the man to come off the bench and trying to bury it. I reckon if Campbell could have that sub again, he probably wouldn't make it, or he'd change who he had on the bench, I reckon. Alan Smith was looking like a beast, and I don't know why he isn't on the bench.
Mainly because he's trying to ship him out to Sloths for no obvious reason.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, you're going to have games like that in the Super League, and Dimble held on for a point rather than losing 2-1 or 3-1 or 4-1. So, yeah, fair play.
Dan's saying Dimble loves Santa Cruz now.
Class.
Slightly sincere apology, says Dimble. And Tato pointing out that he once beat Churchtown 1-5 with Haggis. Let's have a look. Volodenkov continued his good form in that second half and got a 10 out of 10 rated performance, man of the match for him. Oliver Kahn did seem to make a few saves. He rated 8, solid performance from him. Hersey had a bit of an impact in his little time on the pitch, trying to be a bit more creative. And we seem to say it all the time, but it's just solid looking from Churchtown, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the thing that stands out is there's that Hussein performance where he's done nothing. Open the doors for Luca Toni to come in next game as the star man. He's won no headers and he's had no shots, and he's, you know, done very little in terms of his passing. So that could be that.
Let's Ian's saying he doesn't buy into the champing nonsense and he's happy with a point. Let's have a look to see how his side performed. Jeremy's continues to. Do you know what? I'm going to say it. When you consider the elite level DMs, over the course of this save, I think Jeremy's and Nicky Butt have been the absolute standout defensive midfielders.
Yeah, I'd probably put Ndiaye in there as well. Maybe not necessarily as much on text, but definitely in terms of kind of doing the stats with you and Steve every week and kind of seeing him there every single week in terms of tackles per game.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think those 3 have been absolutely elite.
Del Piero mentioned him, and he got a 9 rating as well. Very, very busy. A lot of passes and a high completion rate as well. And he had, 2 of the shots, but none of them on target. Ian's saying he's happy with the point there. But as I kind of said at full time, this is a result that suits everybody else, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, it's that, you lose a game and suddenly there's a team that are 2-3 places behind you that are level with you. Dimble will be happy to have not lost that. Campbell will be happy to have not lost that, but they'll both have wanted to win it. I know that sounds like I'm just trotting out football cliches here, but
two excellent shouts in the text, and they do deserve a mention. Greasy saying Petit deserves a shout. Yeah, I think he's been very, very good at Loco. Whether anyone else would have got these levels out of Petit, I'm not sure. And Jens saying Milevski, the most underrated player in the league, quite possibly.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know what it was when I was doing the stats for tonight? Milevski kind of popped out in terms of he was kind of in and amongst a couple of the key stats. He might not have necessarily appeared on the graphic that we've put into the stream, but actually, he was either kind of 1 off or 2 off, being in the average rate and being in the passes completed, being in the tackles.
The joy for like you and Steve when you see these things. Obviously, when I send it, you get like the top 10 or top 15 of everything. Obviously, for the benefit of the graphic, you can only kind of put the top 5 or 6, so they might not get as noticeable to the wider audience.
And I'd say definitely Petit, the first 2 seasons, I think he's massively, he's not hitting the levels when that he was hitting in the first 2 seasons, but I would have definitely put him in there.
Maka, can you see my chat? I don't know if you've put anything beforehand. I haven't seen it, but I can now on the way back from the golf course. In which case, do you want me to save your game till a bit later, Maka? Give you a chance to get home if Jens is okay with that. Can't see anything, Maka. Jens, if you're okay with me delaying a little bit longer just to give Maka a chance to get back from the golf course, let me know. And we can move on to someone else. Asta against Loco, maybe, just while we wait confirmation.
If Mac is on his way back from the football,
says, if you can see my chat, it's all right to go. Oh, okay.
Okay.
We will do then. So, Fulchester without Molina, who's suspended, has Buffon back in goal. It's not a bad backup goalkeeper, is it? And Nicky Butt, as we were mentioning, also suspended. Duggan, the perfect co-com's very knowledgeable, says Alf.
God bless you, Alf.
He says it's okay, but no worries from me. So they revert back to the formation they used against Dudley Hill earlier in the campaign. And because of the absentees, we've got Gattuso playing defensive midfield. Got Van der Vaart and Van der Laan playing in the middle together. Nedved and Beckham providing the width. And it's Shevchenko playing with the backwards arrow.
Yeah, I think this one is interesting because both managers, even though they're doing well this season, are probably both really fucking unhappy with how things are going for various different reasons.
Yep. But Jens has been at war with his board for about 5 seasons.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a Jens just fuck off to everything, every tweet, which is like just makes us laugh out loud every single time. But yeah, I mean they're both good teams, they're both good managers, they're both good blokes, but they're both not fucking happy with how things are going this season. So Macca needs to maybe go back to the temple. Do you remember that season where he was kind of saying he was going back to the temple every week and praying and all that sort of stuff? That was fucking great. That. So yeah, but this is a team that has won 5 on the spin this season. Which is impressive.
You're absolutely right. And on their day, Fulchester, I believe, have probably been the most impressive team for me. When they've clicked, they've looked really, really good. But you're also right, Macca has provided over the course of this save some really iconic manager, whether it's throwing laptops out the window or as you say, of other things. He's
the best one. It doesn't get any better than the picture of him hanging out of the taxi window on the way back from being on the bus all day, hurrying back for Super League out the back of an Uber with his head. Did you see the iPhone background I made with his face just cut out?
No.
So I'll have to send you it too. I'll send you out on WhatsApp while you go through who's his team.
Okay, please do. Jens saying 100% spot on, and Ian using the "I just can't see anyone else's for some reason" message from Macca as reason to call him a prick in the chat. So I thought I'd just announce it for you, Ian, just so Macca didn't miss it. Let's have a look at the Hall's team. Sol Campbell still injured, Rustico suspended, Panucci, one of a couple of players called up from the reserves. Who was the other one? Vincente, the other player to be called up. Fifey Duggan, Saint and Greavesy reborn, says Alf. That's very kind, thank you.
The $25 million man, Christian Panucci, is that the most controversial Super League transfer ever.
And I'm pleased to say I actually did both of these team subs benches. I'm impressed. I actually did my job correctly. Jens keeping the Postock Panley formation.
It's fucking class art, isn't it? Honestly, we're a bunch of saddos on the internet with all these little in-jokes. Fucking makes us cry. We'll have to check your phone. I'm surprised your phone didn't vibrate. How I missed those days, Fifey. I've just sent you the background.
It's almost as if with all of this streaming and podcasting, I've actually come a bit more professional at this now.
yeah.
Heaven forbid. But having a look at the team, so ZZ Roberts continues to lead the line with Saviola and back in support. Now, obviously Saviola made his debut last time, and there were questions whether he could do this because Steve was struggling with him here, moved him up top with Tony, and it worked really well. Jens basically used this game sticking a middle finger up to anybody who said he didn't know what he was doing. Defensively, maybe there's a couple of questions, but certainly in attack, Roberts, Saviola, and back all on the score sheet, and Van Bommel as well. Certainly proving a point. Tristan back on the bench tonight. You've already said how good you think both of these sides are, but when you see it on paper, are Hull's... I'm guessing you'll say yes to playoff contenders. Are they genuine title contenders?
Yeah, I think I said it earlier in the season on comms that this is the most solid I've seen a Hull's 11 in the whole. You've just seen it, lad. Yeah. I've had that set as my iPhone background for about 8 months now, and the missus hates it. She's like, "Why haven't you got your daughter on?" And it's like Macca's head. So yeah.
So the question is, has anyone else not seen this? Because if not, I'll just post it out on the Super League Twitter. Just lots of Macca's faces.
I'll send you the one that isn't a screenshot, so that if people want to set it as their background,
just everybody setting Macca's faces as their backgrounds.
There you are. That's the one that you need to tweet, because that will not have me like low battery and all that sort of stuff on. Yeah. So I said earlier in the season when I was on that I think this is the best Hull's 11 that they've had, the most solid Hull's 11 they've had throughout the whole save. I love the fact he's brought Archie back in. He kind of binned them off for a little bit, and I think sometimes with players like back, you've got to do that. I really like him as an MC.
Yeah, and same Beavers and Butthead centre-back pairing tonight. A very Dutch midfield with Van der Vaart and Van Bommel against each other. And is Van der Laan? With a name like Van der Laan, you would have presumed so. So a lot of Dutch in that midfield. So be interested to see how they do against each other. Typical FUFC mid-season collapse 3-1. I think he means Halls, but he's put Ghouls. I might get it tattooed, says Ian Campbell. Let's have a score prediction, if I can, please, Duggan.
Ooh, I would like a score draw. But I think
everyone would like a score draw.
Yeah. I think everyone wants a score draw in every game but their own, don't they? I'm going to go Macca coming back from the Temple 1-0.
Macca back from the Temple 1-0. Alf predicting 1-1 this time. Yellow card for Yepes. Very quiet opening 20 minutes. Swan saying 3-3. And Fulchester opened the scoring on 24 through Comandini. The away side taking the lead. A yellow card handed out at half hour now. Third away through the game. Fulchester creating a bit more and seeing Beckham and Trezeguet's name. And then all of the time flies by just as Duggan looks down briefly. And we're at half time. Hull's not really involved in that half at all.
That was just my Taylor's comment. Duggan's pronunciation of Hull and Hools are remarkably similar.
We're very lucky in the Super League to have a fine array of accents.
Absolutely. It's almost like the Everton cheer and the Everton boo are the two same things, aren't they? It's classic Fulchester. It's solid without being, spectacular, because they don't need to be. Jens is probably going to change that up. Arrows on the MCs, maybe?
Quite possibly. Well played, Macca says, yeah. It's only half time, Jens. You've got a whole 45 minutes to turn this around.
Have you seen Tito's comment?
The whole Hull side sounding like now.
the whole Hull's side. That's class. Well in.
Looking at the Hull's side, the whole Hull side, in fact.
The pools, the whole pool side. We'll call that
the pool side, indeed.
Yeah.
as per the stats on the match stat screen, it's been distinctly average, hasn't it?
Yeah, and just not getting enough out of that front three, really. Zizi Roberts is putting himself about a bit, but you kind of want Saviola and back to be feeding off the scraps.
The only shot on goal was from their left wing back.
Yeah. Weird that. They're saying they have won every match that wasn't a ghost game.
As for Fulchester, as you said, this is very Macca-esque. It looks solid without being exceptional. Lucio doing a hell of a job in defence, keeping Halls quiet. Macca classic Dimble. But do you think he's looking at it, and while Halls has been restricted to so little, he would want more from his side as an attacking force?
I don't know, because they've still got that block of 2-4, haven't they? So they're still kind of trying to, anyone with that 2-4, you'd hope are going to limit the opposition to the chances. It's just whether you can create enough in return to kind of get the result.
I think you'll appreciate Jens's changes here. So he's going for it. So chuck Tristan on for back and go 3 up top. I know you're a fan of people going for it. Roberts in the middle. Longer arrows on the wing backs. And Gerrard next to MVB. No arrows on the centre mids and Malewski. So it's certainly a lot more of an attacking shape, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think not that we ever want to go down the rabbit hole of tactics and kind of like kill the game by talking about tactics, but really interested to see what Candela and Conrad do in terms of passes, and whether they're on long or direct or whether they're on short and the arrows aren't going to make a difference getting it up with the 3 up top. So be interesting to see what Conrad and Candela do.
Macca's going as is. So I think I saw you making a note when you counted up in the last game. So just at this point, Candela 12 with 11 completed and Contra 14 with 10 at half time.
We didn't even pay attention to what the final number was for Churchtown. That was a total fucking waste of time, wasn't it?
We could go back and have a look if you like at the end.
Yeah.
Let's kick off and go to the tactics break, which we're almost at already as not much happened. But Shevchenko makes it 2 to the away side. But a brilliant goal from Saviola. Pulls one back and it's 2-1. And Tristan misses a great opportunity. Alf saying 125. There's no way he's counted that, because I didn't stay on the screen long enough.
I think that's his blood pressure, mate. I think he's struggling. Can someone send Alf a rescue remedy?
So we're at 65 minutes. Halls did fall 2-0 down, but did pull one back quite quickly. Diego Tristan's just missed an opportunity as well. Do you see anything further happening here? Maybe a forward arrow on Gerrard, or do you see the Spanish / Australian Gerrard coming on as a more attacking-minded player?
I think keep it as is. Just keep that solidity with that like kind of little number 5 on a dice in the middle, and then just allow the wingers to kind of bomb on and supply the front 3. I think
Gerrard for Gerrard and give him an arrow centrally.
Get it up your Jens. Go on, lad.
And Alf saying he was in accounts.
Oh.
So there you go. That's how he's counted so quickly. Dimble, haha, the train driving scout accountant. Sometimes you guys are on form. As for Fulchester, do you think Macca will be slightly rocked by the fact that they conceded one so early? I'm looking at Nedved's condition there, and also Trezeguet, and thinking, are they going to last another half hour?
Oh, Fifey, I'm gone here. You're going to have to give us a sec, mate. Just roll on.
See, this is the problem when no one else is on. Like, they can hear you laughing, but I can actually see how much you've enjoyed that. Trezeguet for Curtis, back 3, please. So for a change, we're actually seeing someone going more defensive. We don't often see defensive substitutions in the Super League.
Alpha's got to send me CV, because fuck me, he's done everything, hasn't he?
Macca, do you want your strikers straightening up as well? Just to be clear. Yeah, 2 up top. So we'll go like that. And Trezeguet off for Curtis. Does it surprise you to, like I say, we don't often see defensive subs. Does it surprise you, or is it a refreshing change that someone's taking it seriously enough to go defensive?
I think this is the beauty of the changes that you kind of introduced, mate, where you can kind of respond. And I think Hull's created more in that first 15 minutes than they did in 45 previously. And the three up top was definitely working. So, yeah, man marking three, and I hope he keeps them out.
Alf saying never drove a train, Dimble, but scouted a few train wrecks. So 65 on the clock. Alf, when were you doing your bus pass world tour? Oh yes, he did say he was going to go the length and breadth of the country on the bus, didn't he? Still 2-1 to the away side. We've slowed the commentary down for the last 20 minutes. I think there's more goals in this yet. Roberts, flag stays down. Roberts fires it low, but Buffon makes a save. And Curtis heads the resulting corner clear. Beckham to Comandini, but Baldini gets in the way. Milevski, but Gattuso breaks it up. And again, Nedved with a free kick. Comes to nothing, and we're into the final 10 minutes now. Saviola comes forward, but a good tackle. Van der Vaart manages to counter. It's Comandini, Nedved, and it's 3-1 to Fulchester. Van der Vaart with the goal to surely settle this one and put Fulchester back on a winning run. Gattuso to Beckham. Panucci heads it clear. 3 minutes to be added on. 88 on the clock now. Contra, but he's tackled by Van der Laan, who comes forward. And Van der Vaart, Shevchenko, Costanza with a save, Beckham with a corner. And it's cleared. We're into those injury time minutes now. And there's the full-time whistle. And Fulchester win the game 3-1. And looking at those stats, it's been a ruthless performance from their attacking players, hasn't it? Scoring 1 every 2 on target.
Yeah, and I think probably the standout there is Hull's created the one chance first half. In the first 15 minutes, they then kind of created 2 extra chances. Maka then made the changes to kind of block out that 3 at the back, and they created nothing from then on in. So yeah, fair play.
Alf's bus tour got cancelled due to him getting COVID, and Maka says that they are back. You wanted to see? Did you actually write it down? Candea's now 27-19, Contra 31-20. They were both in the teens, so they've kind of doubled up on what they were doing.
Yeah, I think Candela was about 12 and 10, something like that. So. Yeah, wouldn't surprise us if next game Jens sacks off the AMCs altogether and goes with something like that, where it's just about getting the ball up at the top and that middle kind of section, whoever's in there, just being really, really solid.
Well played, Maka. Centre-back pairing and the curse of never winning 2 in a row done us there, says Jens. Great win for the champions-elect, says Dan. Let's have a look at said champions-elect and Shevchenko, just with one of his better Super League performances. He never seems to come under the same sort of criticism as the likes of Zidane. Kind of goes under the radar, even though he's not exactly a prolific Super League goal scorer by any stretch of the imaginations. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and I think he's definitely a player that is been the best that he had, even though the goals have been better at Haggis. I think he feels like he makes more of a difference at Fulchester. Like he's involved in stuff, and the team just kind of works better with him. But then again, we're looking at a 20-year-old spreadsheet and making these ridiculous assumptions based on some flashing numbers on a screen.
It's not ridiculous and it's not stupid. It's nostalgic. And
have you seen the clip where the fella that's like a grown man and he's at like a wrestling show in America, and there's like wrestlers in the ring and that, and they're taking questions from the audience. He just bursts into tears, and all he just keeps saying is, "It's real to me, God damn it!" Just like crying. He just keeps saying, "It's real to me," and that's us. Like this is the closest we'll get to the real thing, but it's real.
It absolutely is real, and it's brought a group of people together. Those that are still involved, those that were involved, and those that will be involved in the future, together in a way that only an international pandemic and the greatest computer game ever invented could. And I will not apologise for it.
And Alfbridge.
The game we were actually going to go to is the one next anyway. So we've got Locomotive Boston against Astor Athletic. Loco didn't make any reserve swaps from memory. Greasy was quite happy to go as was, but they have made an alteration tactically. Slightly anyway. They're going with the Loco Champagne Supernova tactic. Crespo continues to lead the line since signing, and the aforementioned Petit still in defensive midfield, although no longer with the armband since Veron has come in.
Yeah, solid front and back, and definite quality added in terms of kind of names on paper. Ron and Crespo obviously got debut goals, but I think there's been many a manager that has tried to get Crespo on a bit of a run, and Jens has only had really one good season out of him while he's had him. So yeah, look, if Greavesy was half the manager he thought he was, he'd have won this 4 times over. But he's absolutely no mug at this game. He's really good at it, and it's a really good side. And he'll be there or thereabouts this season.
Absolutely. Interesting take. We've already mentioned, and we'll be seeing it in a little while, the Ledesford subs bench. I always complain when I see a particularly defensive looking subs bench, and even their attacking player isn't an out and out striker. And I just look at that and think that's a very defensive bench. But if anyone was going to have a defensive bench, it was going to be Lokomotiv Boston.
Yeah, I think the only defence of that is probably that Costa, Scholes and Veron can play any 3 of those MC, EMC kind of positions.
Versatility is key when you've got limited options.
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be if Crespo goes on a run and Veron goes on a run, then nobody's stopping him really. But I have my doubts. Have you seen that comment from Brian in the commentary?
I have. Well, we'll be as quick as we possibly can.
We've got some of our students in a tournament tomorrow for the Bradley Lowry Foundation, because it's coming up the anniversary for Bradley Lowry, and I'm already crying off with a bit of a dodgy ankle, so yeah, I'm getting the excuses in early.
Astor have gone for a 3 a.m. formation. Not a lot of teams deploy this anymore. And I actually think, on the face of it, with the exception of I don't rate his AMs, the rest of the team looks pretty good.
Yeah, we don't rate the players that have got more in the position than any other player on the pitch. I think you're exactly right. I don't think the AMs are particularly great. But this is Astor, isn't it? It's a squad and an 11 that none of us would touch. But Alf is doing things with this season, and it seems like every week he's taking points off teams that are miles better than him, and particularly against the bigger sides, he seems to be nicking draws and wins. Whereas I think he struggles against those kind of at the bottom end.
I like to use the phrase consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, and probably just have a look on the league table. I think I would guess that he's got the most draws out of anybody in the league.
Yes.
Yeah, and that probably tells you what you need to know about where they're at. Great, solid, but not spectacular really.
I've just spotted Ledesford's stats, by the way. 5 wins, 5 draws, 5 losses, and a -1 goal difference.
It's proper Everton, that,
isn't it? So a score prediction, please, for Loco at home to Astor.
This is out of more hope than expectation. 2-1 Astor.
2-1 to Astor. Rebrand when the redraft happens. There's I think Jens means a curse connected to our name. I mean, there may be a course. Maybe there's a Hulls Vikings golf course.
Yeah, I think some of the stuff Tiago's been posting recently is a little bit sketchy as well. So yeah, maybe not the worst thing to have a bit of a rebrand yet.
This game is flying by without much happening at all. Loco, text-wise, have probably looked the better of the two. Seeing Veron's name and Rui Costa's name a little bit more now, but we're already at half-time. I don't really think that this is going to say more than 2 shots on goal combined.
Yeah, this is one Fifey where we both just need to sit here in silence, wait for the subs, and just crack the fuck on, because that was poor.
That was poor. So here's the Loco stats, and despite the lack of anything happening, which will be music to Greasy's ears, Klompe continue another player who I think's really shone, particularly in the last couple of years, and will be a big sort of statement centre back. He may not still be with the elite levels, but I think he'll certainly be someone that people would definitely be very happy with in their squad.
Yeah, this is one of those players that me and Woodard totally disagree with. I absolutely love Klompe, and I think if you get him cheap early in a save, he becomes an absolute beast. Woodard absolutely hates him, but I think he's class.
Del Vecchio coming on at half-time for Rui Costa is the move by Greavesy. As for Astor, the attacking players, all with the 6s primarily. We knew there wasn't a lot of shots. There's not a lot of passes either. That's very, very low numbers.
Yeah, bit shit. What are you doing here, Alf, mate?
Alf went to 11 Reef on holiday.
Whilst flying the plane.
Match report got a scroll bar. It has data, yes. It's actually got more of one than the first game tonight, which is bizarre because it didn't look like anything happened at all. I also noted while we wait for Alf to make his changes that you threw something into the CMSL chat. Was it today or yesterday? Any predictions on what Fifey's surprises are for the end of the campaign? I didn't see. I don't see all the comments that go by because you're all at it all day long. I don't know how you manage it. I also have a job. But I can never keep up with you lot chatting. Any interesting suggestions that you saw?
Not that would be appropriate for a family show like this. There was some really awful suggestions from some absolute reprobates. I don't know. I think maybe loans. I think maybe giving people the option of switching clubs if they're doing particularly badly. I don't know. Who knows, mate? You're a maverick.
And that's why you've enjoyed me being in charge for the last couple of seasons.
Absolutely.
Still nothing much happening. Roberto Carlos from 20 yards opens the scoring for Loco, and we pause the game on 64 minutes. Will that goal change the mindset of both of these managers? We've got Petit there. Look again. 9 rating for Petit. Compe still up at a 9 as well. Greavesy really does know how to manage defensive players, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Greavesy, kind of talks about home saves, but actually kind of does them with a purpose of kind of fine-tuning defensive tactics. Alpha's probably the king of home saves, but actually does them so he can batter Roma 10-1 every game. So this is chalk and cheese home saves.
We'll leave the Asta figures up for a moment. Dan said, I've just had a ghost game on the last match for round of fixtures. Felt like clicking through a Scooby-Doo background. Greavesy, as you see, keeping it as is. We'll bring up the condition. I know Alf, after the first few games, has been particularly keen on conditions, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Sorin replaced by Placente for the last half hour.
I'd be getting Robbie Fowler on and going 2 up, I think. Maybe, or 3 up, actually. You could go 3 up with a 1-8, with a 1 AMC. Devayo, Rossini, Fowler, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Where you at, Alf, or as is? Is that an as is for that, is it? Is it he said as is, or was that half time?
Oh no, that was at half time.
Oh, was it? Yeah, no rush off.
This is why I do my announcements while Alf's making his subs.
Are there any?
As for announcements, the Gazelles Dudley game, the missing one from this fixture, it was supposed to be played tomorrow night as a one-off game. However, it looks as though illness in the camp at the ex's house means I'm on parenting duty tomorrow and therefore transport duty. So what will happen is the packs will go out. I will play the game recorded Saturday morning and put it up for you all to watch, where then the rest of the packs will also go out ready for Sunday's games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, from the way that kind of Martin and Steve were talking, Martin on comms and Steve in the chat and stuff, I'm sure they'll just come to some sort of agreement as to whether you're just in control of subs or there isn't any unless absolutely necessary. But yeah, always dodgy when those happen.
Fowler for Devayo goes up front left, like that. Only report on big clubs. Who does? Announce Greaves' expulsion, says Macca. Alf, you want it like this? Oh, Almanda for Youngberg. Okay. And then do you kind of want these levelling up? Or are you happy with a sort of Tato-esque, asymmetric looking, whatever this is?
I was communicating by carrier pigeon here. Fucking Morse code. Beep, 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 beep.
To keep the gossips in the job, Alf says okay. All right, we'll keep it like this then. I won't make that announcement now. as we continue on 64. And there's a yellow card for Veron. Offside. Honsho goes in the book. 15 minutes left to play. Jens is Fabrizio. Twitter replies. Personified. Greavesy news? No, not Greavesy news. I was going to give you a little hint as to what a couple of the surprises were that I had in mind. Corrupt manager. Almanda with the header goes out for a corner. West picks it up and Massera. Peruzzi saves. Goes out for throw-in. Carlos, Veron, Burson. Still all the defensive players, though. Loco aren't coming forward with it. They look to be quite happy with their 1 goal as we head towards injury time. We haven't had any injury time limbs so far tonight. Maybe Asta can get a last-minute equaliser. Carlos with the corner. Petit heads it clear. Finn and Ambrosini. Veron gets it. And now Emerson. Rossini! Oh, he's injury time limbs! And the final whistle goes. And none of you will ever see what's just happened in the studio, but there was certainly injury time limbs as Rossini in the 92nd minute levels things up.
Well in Alfie, baby. Well in Alfie, baby. Well done.
And Ian Campbell with the yes comment, Macca with sarcasm. Martin saying
the rest of the league. Thank you for your service, Alf.
And yet another draw. Ex Fulchester icon Rossini says Macca. All the comments are coming through. I think Asta probably deserved a draw by how much they created.
Yeah, definitely. I'm waiting for Tato to pipe up with not 6 shots on target or 6 shots in total for Loco.
Back to textbook Loco.
Yeah, Alf just keeps taking really important points off the sides at the top end. I think if Greavesy had won that tonight, he would have been within 2 of Campbell. I think Campbell would have been on 29 or 30. Greavesy would have been on 27. Yeah, so maybe not 1 or 2, but definitely would have pulled him within a win. Yeah, well in.
It was that man that we were talking about, Compe, who still got man of the match for his performance. Look at his aerial battle there. 10 headers, 7-1, all 7 of them key, winning 6 of 7 tackles as well. This is why he's a rated player.
Definitely. I think him and Lawson have been probably the most consistent centre-half pairing in the league since day 1, I think. I don't know if Klompy and Lawson go back to day 1, but for Loco, but definitely solid. Alfie, you can take as long as you want for subs from now on, mate.
Yes, they've both been at Loco the entire time. As for Asta, Rossini only getting a 7 rating for his performance, despite getting the equaliser. Both subs certainly coming on and making an impact. It is low numbers, but they were only on the pitch 25 minutes. Dan saying that has to be the result of the night so far.
Yeah.
Whereas Greavesy's piped up with, "I love how rent-free I am."
I don't think he's rent-free. He's just Greavesy, isn't
he? Anything jump out for you for Asta there, other than the fact that they scored in injury time?
I really didn't like the 3 AMCs, and I think he's probably got a look to kind of to change that. I think if he wants to do a little bit better, but he's stats wise, he's outplayed Loco tonight, and there's not many teams that'll do that at Greavesy's place. So well done, Alf.
And we have one more game before yours, and it's a very interesting looking fixture. Devils entertaining Bostock Stanley. Bostock in 10th as at time of talking, Devils in 6th, but very little between them points wise. And maybe Bostock's fortunes, although still one of those inconsistent sides, just starting to improve a little bit. So Devils will be certainly looking over their shoulder. And when we see some of the results for these other teams tonight, I mean, obviously we haven't seen Leddersford yet. Gazelles aren't playing tonight. Haven't seen you yet, you're playing Leddersford. And now we've got Bostock. This is a crucial game for Devils, having already seen Churchtown as well, and now seen Loco, seen Asta. So all the other teams have played. This is a massive game for both of these sides.
Yeah, and both sides have got ridiculous amounts of firepower within the squads. I think both sides are capable of dishing out an absolute hiding, and have done this season, to be honest. And like, absolutely hats off to Scotty for going one at the back. I think massive respect to him. And it's not as if he's been kind of outplayed in games and scoring goals. Like, he's looked in control of some of the games that he's actually dominated with one at the back. So it's maybe the next evolution of Super League is that people play one at the back. I don't know.
Yeah, that it wouldn't surprise me if that becomes a more popular thing as well. The only change for them, there was no reserve swaps, and it's just Prutton coming in for the injured Decor from the 4-3 defeat at home to Hulls. You've just seen Dan's comment.
I've got a little story from Jens. So Jens was on holiday in some dark place in England. When I felt thirsty, I went to a local supermarket and asked for a bottle of Coke. Answer was no, it's for Peter Preeves because he's a top bottler.
As for Devils, they drew with Astor last time out, and they've been completely unsensational this season. I would argue, I went on record as saying Hodges was the best Devils side we'd seen. Despite not getting a star, it was the best. This is arguably the worst Devils side that we've seen in this save. I mean, let's not be. I had some dross in the early seasons, but this is the worst Eddie Devils team has been in this save.
And I think they've been boring, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was all over the Rob Sloth to Devils hype. You know, I thought it's going to be absolute bedlam. I see he's just got one on the back, actually, so fair folks to them. But they've only scored 14, so that's only one more goal than actually the lowest scoring team in the league, which was never the case with you. It was never the case with Hodgie, and was never the case with Rob at Sloths. So it just absolutely blows your mind that he's got a better team, better players, but cannot score goals.
Makoku, the only change for this team. I just want to point you in a direction as I say goodnight, Swan. Pointless stat for you. That is the 119th 1-1 draw of the save.
I would like to know what is the most common score of this save. What do you reckon? 2-1?
3-1.
2-0? 3-1?
Yeah, I would say 3-1. So yes, Makoku the only change for Devils. It's still obviously, no matter we've said it for years, no matter what 11 goes out, it looks strong. Can you pinpoint, other than, I don't want to use the phrase, but I know you will. So other than the manager, what is the problem with this Devils team?
Makubu, who's awful. I think if Hodgie had his final again, he wouldn't have him anywhere near it. For me, I think that the intimidating thing about Devils was always Mpenza up top, but also just that solid DM line across the middle. Whether that was even when you had to shoehorn kind of Harry Cullen and you still had Van Bronckhorst and Dyer, and who was the other one? Van Bronckhorst, Dyer,
Guigu, Gravison.
Yeah. It was always that was always the thing that got Devils the result under you, and especially under Hodgie. They just always looked solid.
Sorochinsky.
Yeah, which was a great signing. I think the big thing for you was Barry Ferguson and Emil Mpenza. They were so good for you, and Kieran Dyer. I don't know. He's went one at the back. Mpenza's got to be starting surely.
Well, he's lost faith in him, having only scored 3 and 14.
But he's. I mean, just do a stat. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Don't do a stat comparison. But we would smash Eto all off the park, wouldn't he?
Again, I'm an Eto fan, but he's scored 3 and 6.
Yeah, and the stats in there that probably tell you he doesn't do it as a lone striker, heading, jumping, strength. He's not going to do it as a lone striker, holding the ball up, getting others into play, and kind of wrestling some of those big CBs that we've got in the league.
So a score prediction for tonight's penultimate fixture, please.
Bostock by a couple, I think.
Bostock by a couple. It would be a statement, that's for sure. It's Devils who have started quickest, and Eto, who can't do it on his own, but Henry was offside. So Henry then decides to score himself to give the home side a 1-0 lead. It's been very Devils dominated, this one. Whoever wins, I think it will be a statement. considering how bad we've said Devils have been. Bostock coming back into it now as we approach half time, but Devils go looking for a second. Shax and Raul involved, and Ronaldinho. 120th 1-1 draw predicts Dan and Jens saying Rob is a maniac, but the maniac is winning 1-0 at half time.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a crap first half, to be honest, wasn't it? You'd think playing one at the back with all those attacking players.
Both sides playing one at the back.
Yeah, so I think it's got legs as a future formation, to be honest. I don't think it's as much of a risk as people think it is.
Nesta and Vieira both picking up 9s at half time. No fitness concerns there. I don't think Rob's actually been in the chat tonight, so we won't spend too long looking at the Devils. But again, it just bothers me when you see Makoku, Henry, Kuhl, the three attacking midfielders having, 21 passes between them. It's just not a lot of possession in the attacking area.
Yeah, probably because of that 5 across the DM line, but still they're 1-0 up.
They are indeed. Let's have a look at the Bostock team. To be fair, have we seen Scott about tonight? I don't think I've seen his name either.
No, I don't think we have.
Look, that's a lot of 6s for them, particularly by players who, Welsh and Live struggling to get involved. Shaq struggling to have much of an impact either. It's not often we see this, but I agree. I think it's probably because they're both playing not exactly the same, but similar formations. They're just cancelling each other out because they've loaded attacking areas a lot more than other teams do because they've gone one at the back, but they've also both got those solid lines of DMs, so no one's creating anything.
Yeah, how many offsides has there been on that match stats?
40.
So not really that many when you think about them playing one at the back and potentially an offside trap as well. Or a bit of a bizarre one that.
Well, in the absence of either manager, let's play on. We'll go to 60 in case one of them pops in, like Hodgie did earlier. It's only fair. But we're almost at 60 already. Just 57 will do. Look, I can see Vieira's rating's got up to a 10 in that sort of 10 minutes or so. Very little to concern Rob there. Still winning 1-0. Bostock not really creating anything. You wouldn't be changing anything, I presume, in that situation?
Nah, if he was here, maybe the yellow cards, but he's not here, so.
As for Bostock, still quite a few 6s. Lee Young Pyo's dropped to a 5. So you'd maybe be looking at Gonzalez there as an attacking option. Prutton's fitness all of a sudden drops to 78 as well. Would that come into consideration if Scott was watching?
You'd probably be dropping one of the 3 DMs that could play MC, maybe pushing. If Prutton wasn't struggling for fitness, you'd maybe push him up as an MC.
I actually think he'd bring Guigu on for Prutton, bring Gonzalez on for Lee Young Pyo, and just make these arrows bigger.
Bigger, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
But no sign of either manager, so we will carry on. In the absence of them, I probably won't even slow them down, even if it stays a tight game. Let's get on to the managers that are here. Goal kick. And it's Lee Young Pyo who scores, levels things up on 65 minutes. Torres misses a chance. Are Bostock going to turn this round now? There's another chance goes begging as we're into the final 10. Etu hits the side netting. Heading towards injury time. Is there another goal in this for either side? Henry missing a chance. And Ronaldinho against his former club missing a chance. And the game finishes 1 apiece. Seemed both sides created a bit more in that second half, that's for sure.
Yeah, 120th 1-1 draw. Mark that down, Swan. Probably it'd be interesting to see who those chances fell to for Bostock because they definitely created a lot more second half, I think.
So we got 3 for Torres, 3 for Ronaldinho, 4 for is that Raul or Live?
Yeah,
Raul. So the players he would have wanted them to fall to.
Yeah, he's got. I think he's got definitely the most players in a team with 20 finishing. I think, or 19, 20 finishing. So, he'd probably be disappointed he hasn't nicked that second half. But first half was a bit poor. I think they'll both take a point. I think they'll be more than happy with a point.
Tato saying lovely. We'll take that all day long. If Scott was in the chat, he would have hooked LYP on for a 5. Correct, and yet he's the man who scored the equaliser. Vieira continued to impress, as did Nesta, keeping their high ratings. That's a lot more like it from a Devils perspective, particularly defensively. but they still need a bit more of that ruthlessness in attack, don't they?
Yeah, he's got to get Mpenza into that 11, surely. Or he should have cashed in on Mpenza. If he's fell that far out of in favour, I think he probably would have got a decent price for Mpenza. I asked him about Mpenza and ended up getting Dyer instead. So yeah, I think if you don't fancy him, cash in on him.
Cash in. Wow. For anyone who still has transfers left, of course, because most of the league have done this.
Yeah.
That brings us to the final game, Leddersford against Dragons, and we look at your opponents first. And forgive me for feeling a little bit nostalgic, as Tato's gone with his variation of the Devils' old 2-4-3-1 with the diagonal arrow. And I think it was Tato who criticised Barry Ferguson for having the diagonal arrow all those years ago now. But he's put them on his attacking midfielders as well, just sort of running past each other either side of the striker. Does this bring back nightmares, seeing a team playing this again?
I was just about to say an ode to a Devils side that absolutely had the Dragons as number across 2.5, 3 seasons. This, I said it on Twitter the other day, this shouldn't work, but it probably will. Tato's miles better at me than this game. He's smashing me in a network save at the minute in the French league. I think he's like 14 points ahead with only 2/3 of the season done. And I think he's got a 3-1 head-to-head record on me, I think, from Swanee stats. So, this shouldn't work, but it probably will.
Who stands out as the star men? Obviously, Zé Roberto in terms of big name, Van Nistelrooy in terms of big name. But are you looking at that? We were talking about Alf's attacking free that he was using. This for me is a much stronger looking free.
Yeah, it is, and I've just spied the Mick Lynch at DM. That's class, proper class. I love that DM pairing, and I love Gallardo and Zé Roberto as wing backs. I really like Gallardo. I had him a couple of times off Steve. I think he's class. I think if I'm and Riyad is Riyad's class. He'll definitely be in the league the next time it comes round. I think if I'm looking at this in terms of kind of where can we maybe get a result, we've got the 4 across the middle in our lineup. You hope that they maybe just control a little bit more of the ball, and you hope that Van Nistelrooy has one of his off days, which he can have every 3 or 4 games.
Absolutely, and we've mentioned it throughout the episode, but 3 attacking players on the bench.
Yeah, Constantinu to score the winner, I think.
Constantinu to score the winner. Let's then have a look at your side, and you can talk us through your selection. If I remember correctly, there was no actual reserve swaps, but you did add the shit 24th man just to balance the list. So shit 24th man has been called up to the squad. In terms of changes, you only kind of made one enforced, but it kind of moved things around. So Riquelme came in, which
that was it. Riquelme came off the bench to replace our player this season.
On the bench, of course.
Yeah, Said on the bench, and then Riquelme in for Simkoviak, who's been the best player all season, really. So yeah, we think we found something that might work. We've created a lot more chances. We're scoring a lot more goals. They've just got to fall at the right players.
Well, let's see if it happens tonight. The Sexy Dragons away kit, of course, which you are a big fan of. As always, I won't ask you to predict. I will just say good luck, and good luck to Tato as well in tonight's main event fixture. And Dragons score early through Sigalko on 3 minutes. Leddersford through Van Nistelrooy on 8. This is all the makings of a goal fest again. Let's see if they can maintain this through the rest of the first half. And it's Kieran Dyer with his first Dragons goal. I'm both happy and sad to see it happen. It just doesn't look right. Leddersford should have equalised again, but didn't. 32 minutes now on the clock. And it's free, and it's Montella. Makes it free for Dragons. Van Nistelrooy missing another chance. Can Dragons make it 4 before half-time? Raya trying to pull one back the other way. Oh, and another opportunity for Leddersford. And they do get one back. It's Rayhead with his first goal for Leddersford just before half-time. And surely not. Oh! Well, Duncan, take a breath. 2-3. You like some high-scoring games, don't you?
Yeah, I've said since day one of the save that this is what we should all be doing. We're playing with the best players that we've ever known on a game that is the kind of entertaining. Greavesy would disagree, but this is what we want. We want entertaining games. We don't want people tuning into Super League for the first time and the tits being bought off with 2 shots on target.
Tato echoing that with his comment. This is what it's fucking all about. Is his comment
Absolutely.
on the chat. Steve Wright saying unreal. Jens saying Duggan's Dragons about to go on a run. Well, what's your overall thoughts and emotions on that first half? Obviously, plenty of attempts from both sides, plenty of goals, and you are in the lead.
Yeah, I think 3-2 is a miles different score to 3-1. I would have been a lot more comfortable at half time with 3-1 than 3-2, but this isn't done with goals just yet. No way.
Zé Roberto and Dyer reacquainting themselves. They're wearing different strips, but the battle commences on that particular wing. They've had many a titanic tussle over the years. Zé Roberto rating quite highly with 9 there at half time. A couple of 6s dotted about, unsurprisingly for the defensive players. Just looking to see what Tato may be looking at. Gallardo maybe the player who's about to get hooked. This is horrible, says Greavesy. Tato making the change, Petkov off for Galletti. Problem is with these formations, no one's ever in the position that they're supposed to be when I'm looking for them. There we go. We miss Vrede's set, to be honest. It's true, he's very, very good. Another centre-back who I think's reputation's significantly bolstered over the Super League. That'll do till 60. So having a look at your stats here, anything jumping out at you instantly? Montella doing a very loco Montella thing, not seeing a lot of the ball, but doing the one thing you pay him to do.
Yeah, I think we'll go Ortega for a Calme, please.
Greasy would rather sell his wife than field that lead subs bench. Ortega for Raquelme, was that, sorry?
Yes, please, mate, yeah.
Okay. That Dyer ZR battle is class. Yes, I said Zé Roberto rate a 9 at halftime. Kieran Dyer not too shabby either. They're both basically just ignoring each other and staying in the opposition's half, I think. Zé Roberto's not got the legs for it anymore, and Dyer can't be bothered. Let's kick off the second half, see if these goals can continue. Do you know what? I might just slow it down for the whole second half, the way this has been going. We've got plenty of time, having no 7th game to worry about. It's only 10:30 now. And it's very enjoyable. Van Nistelrooy coming forward. Baumer gets in the way, but Galletti picks it up. Van Nistelrooy, just wide. There's definitely more goals in this, in my opinion. Zé Roberto, Van Nistelrooy, but Chiotis gets in the way, and it just goes keeper to keeper. Not sure about that, Jens. She does have a lovely pair of tits. And Dye picks it up. Gallardo, Scally, Van Nistelrooy, good slide tackle. Rayed. Oh, but it's cleared.
60.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was getting well involved in the game and the chat. Montella on the volley, but it goes wide and we stop it. Yes, all right, Tato, yes, subs, I know. Duggan's told me. So you don't need to see condition, but I'll show you anyway, just in case. Say Roberto maintaining his 9 rating. There's not really too much to be worried about there, I would say, from a Ledesford perspective. And they've got plenty. I mean, are they going to swap it now and go 3 up top with 1 in behind, maybe bring Vieri and Constantinu on? I mean, it's written in the stars for Constantinu to score because of how much you would have wanted him back at Dragons.
Yeah, I think he probably won't, because I think that's the reason they're creating so much, because they've got that kind of outnumbered across that. The 3 MCs versus Lysan's in there who's solo. So I'll be surprised if he kind of sacrificed that for 3 up top.
I can actually see him bringing both of them on and playing 2 of the strikers as AMs. Oh, here we go. So Gallardo switch with...
Oh, he's going 3 up top. Fair play. Fair play.
Just over. Constantinu on at AMC. I'm guessing that's for Gallardo. Galletti off for Vieri. I cannot see him. Oh, the sub's coming off. For 1 AMC and 3 up top. Yeah, so we're going like this. Do we think that's right?
Yeah, that's how I read that.
Yeah, I think so. Constantinu is a dog, says Wooder. Evening, Wooder. Galetti off. Nice of you to be bothered, Wooder. Sorry, stick Constantinu up top. Yeah, that's right. Right, I think that's right. I think we're happy with that. Perfect. Let's fucking have it, says Tater. Okay, lovely. As for yourself, Duggan, would you like to see condition or is ratings enough for you?
Yeah, if we can see condition, please, mate, if that's all right.
Absolutely, no problem whatsoever.
Right, I think we are going to go. We're going to go Carew for Montella.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we could go Said for Ortega and drop Said into centre half, please.
So you're also subbing this up?
Yeah.
Like that?
Yes, please, mate, yeah.
It's unlike you to go defensive subs as well. Tater will not be happy that you've gone defensive. But let's see how it plays out. Probably should have stuck with the three AMCs, but these games have a tendency to meander after a mental first half, so fuck them, says Tater. So 25 minutes left to go. Both sides have made changes. It's Ledesford that are going all out for the goal. Dragons trying to hold on to what they've got. Let's see which works. Scally spots Vieri. Vieri to Constantino Zé Roberto. And it goes out for a corner. Etzeberria. Or Balmer gets in the way of Vieri. 20 minutes now to go. And the home side tries to come forward again, but Balmer picks it up. And Sigalko! But he puts it a long, long way wide. Davids picks it up. And now Balmer. Carew. Dyer, Zé Roberto gets in the way, free kick. Perry manages to clear. Vieri advancing, long range effort, hits Balmer. 15 now to play, 10 to play. Duggan's looking nervous. Zé Roberto, still Zé Roberto. Van Nistelrooy, Constantinu, can't miss, doesn't miss. Constantinu makes it 3-0.
There we go.
And a rue smile from Duggan. Vieri picks it up. Rayed. Constantinu again. Free kick to Ledesford. Vieri's going to take it. Van Nistelrooy, it comes off Balmer. Zé Roberto swings it into the box. Nothing happens. Into injury time. And maybe one last chance. Hippier. Zé Roberto. Still Zé Roberto. It falls to... Oh! Constantinu! And Shiotis gets in the way. And the full-time whistle goes. And it ends 3-3. We said it was written for Constantinu to get the deciding goal, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely. What a game that was. Enjoyed that.
Well,
probably
could you tell your face you enjoyed it? Because you didn't look like you were enjoying it.
Tate will probably be happier the two, but I think Ledesford probably created more, I think. No, same. Yeah, fair enough.
Majestic that, great battle, Doug, mate, says Tato. Crikey Moses, great game, says Ian Edwards, and I think I echo that. The perfect game to end tonight's excitement on. Horrible, just horrible, says Greavesy. Tense, tense, says Dimble. Results bar Mac have massively gone our way. Defeating Cummings, says Steve. Quality match, says Dan. I mean, we can look at the stats, but the stats won't begin to tell the story of what happened in that game, will it?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Dyer and Zé Roberto are both going to be the standout. Ledesford looked better, I think, when they went 3 up top. We looked worse when we went 3 at the back, I think.
That's because you invited the pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I don't know, actually, because we only lost the AMC. So we didn't do anything massively different in terms of like the actual midfield shape. But yeah, I think me and Tato both want to play the game in this way, because why not? Because it's entertaining. It's an important point, and more importantly, it's an important not defeat to let Ledesford pull away from us.
No, absolutely. Zé Roberto winning that battle in the end. He got man of the match for his 10 out of 10 rating. Dyer dropping to an 8 despite of his goal. But fantastic game all round. Thank you to both managers for putting on that display for us. And that concludes the evening's game. So we started, before the mics actually went up live, we started with Dudley Hill beating Kiwi 3-0 in the Oceania Cup with their mixed bag of reserves, their old school Devils formation. But they continue to lead the way. A Super League team actually taking it seriously and trying to win some continental glory. So we'll see what happens there. Plus, it'll cause some carnage in the fixture list, which we want in the final season, is a little bit of carnage. As for the Super League itself, we had Churchtown 1, Haggis 1, Halls 1, Fulchester 3, back to the top of the table for Macca's men. That absolutely glorious 6-goal thriller between Leddersford and Dragons. 1-1 between Boston and Astor. 1-0 to Burn in that bottom of the table 6-pointer. And Devils drawing 1-1 with Bostock Stanley. Let's have a look at what that does. So as I say, Fulchester now go point clear of Haggis at the top. They keep swapping between them game week after game week. Loco still third. Churchtown now up to fourth by virtue of goal difference. Dudley have the game in hand, which we spoke about earlier, but they are both on 23, as are Devils. 2 points clear of the group of 3 clubs on 21, Leddersford, Halls and Bostock. Dragons up to 10th, again by virtue of goal difference, further point behind on 20, alongside your former club. Gazelles also on 20, again with that game in hand. Imagine what a win for Gazelles over Dudley would do for them and the league as a whole. Astor, who got the injury time limbs I was looking for, a further point behind on 19, Sloths on 15, and Burn enter double figures as they are on 11th. We getting packed tonight, Fifey, mate. You've asked for the stats, Steve. I can't do everything, mate. I have got a life to live as well. Great show. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate it. If Gazelles win, we go 5th. Yes, you do, Martin. So go and win. As I say, the Gazelles Dudley game will go out. If I can get back in time, it'll go out tomorrow night. If not, it'll be Saturday morning. Packs will go out tomorrow either way. And only 2 of us, yes, but there's only one of me, Steve. There's only one of me. Double figures get in, says Ian. As for the rest of the fixtures, after this game is out of the way, we get a full round. Again, Hodgie is on comms for Astor Fulchester. Could you imagine if Astor take more points off top 6 clubs? Bostock Churchtown, Dragons against Devils, always entertaining. I imagine you're looking forward to tangling with Rob again there, Duggan. Dudley Hill against Leddersford should be a cracker as well. Gazelles Loco, that's got 0-0 written all over it personally. Haggis Burn, we'll see if Burn can have a turnaround. And this is the one I'm looking at for a 7-goal thriller. Sloths against Halls. That is 2 managers who would be quite happy to go at it. Clues for future surprises? There are 2 major ones. One will be announced game week 19, so not long. And one will be announced game week 25, 26 for the 2 major surprises I've got lined up.
I'm going to have a guess. I'm going to have a guess at the second one.
Go on then.
And I've thought this for a while.
Go on then.
And I've suggested this a couple of times. I think once playoffs are cemented, you'll allow the top 6 any transfer, maybe 1 or 2 transfers from anyone who didn't make the top 6.
I can say no, that's not the one I'm planning to announce.
Okay.
However, it is food for thought, and maybe I'll throw that one in as an extra one.
Yeah.
I'll decide who the top 6 are and whether they deserve an extra transfer. Plus, when does the transfer window close in Australia? I'd need to consider that as well.
Ooh, Steve's probably a man for that, or Dimble. But I mean, Gazelles could be by the time the next fixtures end, Gazelles could be 2 points behind Logo Boston. Is that right?
Yeah.
20, 23, 26, 28. Yeah.
It's great, isn't it? It's great
Fantastic,
to be
mate.
Involved.
Absolutely, mate.
Mate, cannot thank you enough for your time again this evening, as always. Always entertaining having you on. And as Alf said earlier, not only are you entertaining, but very knowledgeable. Always appreciate it when you can join me. Thank you very much.
Cheers for your company, mate. Cheers, boys.
And thank you for that. Thank you for that last game as well. How is it we always play top 6 clubs, says Alf. It doesn't close. Cheers, lads. From me and from Duggan at Super League HQ, there will be that sort of middle of the road game between Dudley and Gazelles, either Friday night or Saturday morning, and fixtures return to normal on Sunday with me and Hodgie. But as always, thank you very much for your time. Good night.
Cheers, mate.